Test. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. So we have quorum, so we're going to get going. This is a public meeting to consider the proposed comprehensive official plan and zoning bylaw amendments listed as items 1 to 3 on today's agenda. For the items listed above, only those who make oral submissions today or written submissions before the amendments are adopted may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board. In addition, the applicant may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board if Council does not adopt an amendment within 120 days of receipt of the application for zoning and 180 days for an official plan amendment. A comment sheet is available at the door if anyone does want to speak. Any declarations of interest? None? Confirmation of minutes from the agenda the 22nd of September. Any changes? Are they carried? Carried, thank you. Okay, our first item is the zoning bylaw amendment for 1627 Maxine Street in Beacon Hill, Searville. I have no speakers. Does anyone on the committee want to hold that? Vice Chair Tierney, this is your neck of the woods. You're good? Good. Is that carried? Thank you. And the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw for 350 Cresthaven Drive, that Planning Committee recommend Council approve and adopt an amendment to Volume 2A of the official plan to redesignate 350 Cresthaven Drive from mixed-density residential in the South Nepean Secondary Plan Areas 4, 5, and 6 to mixed-use special policy area as shown in Document 1 and detailed in Document 2, and approve an amendment to the zoning bylaw 2008-250 for 350 Cresthaven Drive to permit a mixed-use development as detailed in Document 3. We don't have any speakers. We do have, Mr. Sterling is here on behalf of the applicant. Do you need to speak if we're prepared to carry this item? We'll take yes. Any questions from committee members? Is this item carried then? Carried. Thank you. And then we have number 3 is the zoning bylaw amendment for 2500 Saint Laurent Boulevard, and Councillor Deans is here. This is in her ward. The Planning Committee recommend Council repeal bylaw 2014-291 as it applies to 2500 Saint Laurent Boulevard as detailed in Document 2, and approve an amendment to zoning bylaw 2008-250 for 2500 Saint Laurent Boulevard to permit business park industrial type uses as shown in Document 1 and detailed in Document 2. We do have Mr. Nirmals here from the Ottawa Community Land Development Corporation to speak if anyone has any questions. Does anyone have any questions? You don't need to speak, correct? Where are you, Danishwar? Where'd you go? You don't need to speak if, okay. So is this item carried? Carried. Thank you. Number 4 is the Vacant Urban Residential Land Survey 2014 update. Anyone want to hold this? We'll hold that. Number held by Councillor Nussbaum. And number 5 is the Manotick Area Specific Development Charges. This has already been to ARAC, and due to procedures comes here after that. So that the Planning Committee that Council endorse bylaw 2014-229 be revised such that the applicability of the area-specific development charge for water and sanitary sewer services be in respect of the revised Schedule 1 attached as Document 1. Does anyone have any questions? No? Is that carried? And we have a procedural motion, so it's carried, and we have a procedural motion from Vice Chair Tierney.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair, that the Planning Committee direct the report to be forwarded to Council for its meeting of the 14th of October 2015 as the outcome of the appeal in respect to this matter is to be considered by the Ontario Municipal Board on October 15th, 2015.
So this is advancing out of the norm, but normally it wouldn't go till the next time because of the Ontario Municipal Board hearing on the 15th. Is that carried? Carried. Thank you. And our last item, and we have 3 lovely ladies that came out to speak to it. This is their initiative, and they had some questions, but we had a conversation, and this is with regard to the mural at 373 Laurier Avenue East. If you remember, we had Councillor Leeper had one at the last meeting, I believe, in his ward, and Councillor Fleury, you have some lovely residents that have come out here to talk. We were having a chat. And so this is as you know, it's across from an embassy. It's on a wall that's graffitied, has a lot of graffiti issues. Did you want to say anything?
Well, I think it's a great collaboration between the community, the condo owners, as well as the group leading the Prime Minister's rural idea. And that little area, there's a little pathway, and as you highlighted, Madam Chair, it's always graffitied. It's been such an issue for the condo board. We've had ongoing discussions with them to try to find solutions, and now I think what's presented in terms of mural reflecting the Prime Minister's heritage along that area, and as well hopefully stopping the graffiti in that little pathway will improve the community and will also reflect some of its historical goals.
Thank you very much. You know what I'd like to see, because we have these two murals in opposite sides of the downtown, really. Well, yours isn't really opposite sides of downtown. You are the downtown, and you are just a little bit to the west. But because we have two at the same time, I'd really like to have a conversation next fall on how successful they are at changing the amount of graffiti and that sort of thing. Because it's something that probably, if really successful, we should be looking at where other opportunities exist. Thank you very much for coming out today. And so this item's carried? Carried. Thank you. And technical amendment? Procedural motion, Vice Chair Tierney?
Thanks, Madam Chair, that the Planning Committee direct a report to be forwarded to Council for its meeting of October 14th, 2015, in order for the project to proceed in a timely manner while the weather conditions are permissible.
Is that carried? Thank you. That's okay. Okay, and now we have an in-camera item. Oh, yes, sorry, we have to go back to number on the vacant land. Sorry, Councillor Nussbaum. Go ahead. And this is on vacant lands. Are you answering this? Vacant lands. Who do we have here? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Just a couple of questions about this survey, which I found useful. I noticed that starting in this survey, lands inside the Greenbelt are not included. It says here, as all potential in that area is some form of intensification defined as per the city's official plan rather than greenfield development. So does that mean that the definition has changed then? So vacant urban residential land, as defined by the city, now only refers to vacant urban residential land outside the Greenbelt?
Madam Chair, the way they define intensification in the city's official plan include a number of items, including redevelopment that creation of new lots, used lots on previously developed land in existing communities, as well as the development of vacant or underutilized lots within previously developed areas. So previously, when the survey originally started in 1982, lands inside the Greenbelt could have been part of a new community that's developing. But through assessment this year, we find that lands within the Greenbelts are largely developed and parcels vacant are either through redevelopment or within previously developed area. So that aspect will be captured under the annual development report under the intensification section.
Okay, so but doesn't that mean by definition that vacant urban residential land is now being defined as only being land outside the Greenbelt? So for instance, available land inside the Greenbelt is technically not vacant urban residential land.
That's correct.
Okay. It's a bit counterintuitive, right? Because when you hear the term vacant urban residential land, that doesn't obviously tell you that that does not include land inside the Greenbelt. For example, in my ward, we passed around this table a couple of weeks ago a development which is going to end up in somewhere in the tune of 6,000 new units on vacant urban residential land in the form of brownfields development. So that is not included, it's not captured in this. It's viewed as intensification, and then by definition, it's not included in this definition.
That's correct.
Okay. In the conclusion of the actual study, again, it's got great statistics, so I found it very, very useful to read. There's mention, sorry, I'm just getting to the actual sentence that I wanted to refer to. So the conclusion is, overall, the supply of land for new housing in Ottawa at the end of 2014 met all policies of the provincial policy statement for greenfield residential land. Could you explain, I'm not familiar with any portion of the PPS that has policies related to greenfield residential land. Could you explain that to me?
Madam Chair, it's provincial policy section 1.4.1 to provide an appropriate range and mix of housing types and densities required to meet projected requirements of current and future residents of regional market area. Planning authorities shall, and it goes on to say A and B, which is the requirement, maintain at all time the ability to accommodate residential growth for a minimum of 10 years through residential intensification and redevelopment, and if necessary, land which are designated and available for residential development. So the second portion of this bullet A refers to lands designated for residential growth. And B, maintain at all time where new development is to occur, land with servicing capacity sufficient to provide at least a 3-year supply of residential units through land suitable zone to facilitate residential intensification and redevelopment, and land in draft, approved, and registered plans.
Right. So the language through residential intensification and redevelopment, and if necessary, lands which are designated and available for residential development, suggests that the PPS is actually encouraging municipalities to increase population growth or manage growth within intensification or brownfield development. Yes, there's talk about range, but if you take, a city like Toronto, which doesn't have greenfields, they would be managing all of their growth within existing residential intensification, correct?
Maybe just to clarify, Madam Chair, so the PPS really speaks to development within the urban area, and we do have greenfield sites within the urban areas, so that's where it refers to the statement in the PPS, lands zoned for or ready for, designated for residential development. So there is a reference to intensification, absolutely, and that's been acknowledged, and as Mr. Sheen indicated, there's a separate report that comes out on that. But this is really reporting on the lands within the urban area as defined by the official plan that remain available for residential development, and there is a requirement under the PPS that we maintain that 10-year supply, so we're reporting out on that.
Again, just so that I understand, but that 10-year supply can be met either through intensification, brownfield development, i.e. residential intensification and redevelopment.
That's correct. The 10-year supply can be met in either way, and in this instance, again, we're demonstrating that we have more than adequate beyond the 10-year supply within the urban area.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hubley, you had something?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When you say in the report that we have so many years left worth of land, what's the calculation that you use for that? How many units per hectare?
Madam Chair, it's in table 9A of the report on page 9. So what we're looking at here is for year
Residential, I think you want to know. Is that right, Councillor Hubley? Residential, please.
For the year 2015 to 2024, the projection is for annual demand of 3,237 units. 98 hectare of land. Do you want me to translate that to density for you?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Do you have anything else while he's doing that?
Pardon me?
Did you have anything else while he's doing that math?
No, that's why I've got more related to that, depending on what his answer is. And I think, Madam Chair, you know where I'm going
Yeah, I
with
know
this.
where you're going.
I want to know if we're following. Go ahead.
It's 33 unit per hectare.
33?
33? Okay. That's, because I noticed in your report here on, I think it's page 1 or 2 of the 2014 update, you say that we're now achieving, I think it's 38 units per hectare, 38.5 units per hectare, and you correctly note in here that that's the highest ever recorded by the survey?
That's correct.
So you see this trend going down then to 33?
If I might step in, Madam Chair, the 38 units that's reported, that was actually what was built in 2014. The table in 9A that averages out to 33, it's based on the average of the last 5 years. So you see densities have been going up, but if you take the 5-year average, it's going to be lower than 2014.
In order for it to be lower than 2014, then it has to keep going back down, correct? Otherwise, if it's going to go up, that average is going to increase.
Yeah, well, it's simply that by using the last 5-year average, when we have a upward trend, the estimate is therefore conservative.
It's 33. And
Yeah,
that's what you
33
use.
is conservative because each year, the last several years, the average has been going up, and there's every likelihood that it will continue to go up.
Except now we're off onto an entirely different topic, really, because it's the bigger topic of the Building Better, Smarter Suburbs, which we're now calling Back to the Future. And the city standard, the city target was 34, correct?
30, that's correct, Madam Chair.
30?
34 and urban expansion land.
34, right, okay. So we all know that in some parts of the burbs, they're achieving 43, which is causing an incredible pressure on the livability of the people that are moving in there. And those of us that have been working directly on the sponsor group definitely see the correlation between that kind of density, and it's forced because of the fact that we take more than 50% of the land that a developer has for things other than where people live. But it's causing, the solution is, that's why we're now saying Back to the Future. And we'll have more updates for that for all of you very soon, actually.
I'm just wondering, Madam Chair, if now's a good time to give some direction to staff about that number, so that it works in with this
Probably
report
not,
going
because
forward?
it's the vacant land, but I think that probably a better reporting way would be when we bring the report forward, as we need the policy changes to incorporate the work that we've been doing. I think I don't think this is the appropriate place for where I think you're going.
Well, the reason I say that is because that number that we want to get to, that 34, is based or to be applied to this vacant land. So that's where it fits in here. And what I'm worried about is any more of this vacant land getting developed at 38 or 44 or 50, it's going to cause the suburban councillors a lot of grief.
Yep.
So we've got to get back to that approved number of 34 as soon as possible.
And we know that. We've got a very small, just for those of you around the table, the core group is Councillor Hubley, up until recently Councillor Blais, myself, Alain Migalas, Phil Landry, and Phil Petty. And we're definitely moving in the right direction with all of that now.
Okay, thank you.
Stay tuned. Any other questions on vacant land? Okay. Let's see. Is that received? Thank you. Okay. So now, Councillor Tierney, thank you very much for coming forward today. Councillor Tierney has a motion to go in camera.
Thanks, Madam Chair. In accordance with the procedural bylaw 2014-441, the Planning Committee resolve in camera pursuant to subsection 13(1)E, litigation or potential litigation affecting the city, including the matters before administrative tribunals, section 13(1)F, the receiving of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for the purpose with respect to the resolution of development charges bylaws appeal before the Ontario Municipal Board by the Greater Ottawa Home Builders Association and the Building Owners and Managers Association of Ottawa.
Well, thank you. Is that carried? And just so you know, I mean, this is the first in-camera that we have been at Planning Committee in I don't even know how many years. But it's been a while, hasn't it, Mr. Mark? Yeah, so we don't take that lightly. Anyway, so I would ask everybody who is not a councillor or Court Curry, John Moser, Marion Similik to leave, please. Oh, Tim Mark has to stay. You have to stay. And please, good try, though. But I would ask anybody who's leaving to please take any of your devices with you. Thank you. I heard you. Thanks. No, that's okay. If you want to be consistent, that's fine. Yep. So, any notices of motions? Inquiries? Other business? Adjournment. We're back on the 27th for more fun at Ridgemont High.